Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome to another review today. As you guys can probably tell by the title, I'm doing a full series vlog about Yuuki Yuuna wa Yusha de Aru. Yuuki Yuuna is a hero, and I initially did a first impressions vlog about this at the very beginning of the season. And you know, I really like magical girl anime. The hero kid teases me about this sometimes, but I do really like it because it brings me back to my childhood. When I was a kid, just watching magical girls, had a lot of like aspirations, wanted to be like a superhero kind of thing. And I watched Card Captors, I watched Sailor Moon a lot. Those were my two giant favorite like loves when I was a kid. And then I watched a lot of Tokyo Mew Mew when that was on reruns, so I watched that. And then much later, when I grew up, when the Madoka Magica franchise came out, that was huge. Watched it, really got me back into the magical girl anime genre, so I decided to give Yuuki Yuuna a try. Initially, I thought Yuuki Yuuna would be something very similar to, let's say, Sailor Moon, or maybe like Gene wo Kakeru Taios, a magical girl anime based on tarot cards that I did a few seasons ago. I wasn't expecting it to be as dark as it was, and I think they really did a great job with it, despite the fact that the ending felt a little bit incomplete for me. I am glad that they did put a happy ending in there because things would have gotten seriously complex. So I want to give you guys a really quick warning here. There might be spoilers later on because I do want to talk about the twists that they offered in the show, how they presented it, and what kind of implications it had for the characters. So if you guys have seen the entire series and you're looking for some food for thought, and maybe like another opinion to add to your perspectives, keep on watching. So as you guys probably know, Yuuki Yuuna is a magical girl series, so it's about 4 girls at the very beginning, 5 later on. They're all part of a hero club in middle school, and they basically set out to do good deeds for the community, help out other clubs, help out fellow students and peers, stuff like that. So basically a club that does a lot of like volunteer work with very good intentions. And it starts out like that, but they kind of gloss it over as heroes because they are kind of helping the community. Judging from the title, you guys can probably already tell that the idea of a hero is a very big concept that they kind of juggle with, and that they explore quite a bit throughout the entire anime. I do love how it was presented initially because there was a lot of symbolism involved, and a lot of it wasn't really explained, but later on you got a grasp of it as the story unfolded. So of course each of the magical girls have each a different color, and they worship Shinju-sama, which is the god in this world, and there are these evil entities or like creatures called the Vertex that will attack Earth, and they attack the Shinju-sama's protective little realm before they hit Earth. So what the heroes are supposed to do is they transform, they have magical powers, and they go fight these vertexes, and they have to seal them. The interesting thing about this is each of the heroes learns everything they have from a smartphone. There's a manual. They email the Shinju-sama, or like the organization that chooses magical girls. You can basically level up as a magical girl. And of course, initially you can transform, and you have a fairy that's kind of like your sidekick. So of course, as they fight into more life and death and serious battles, they level up into a mode called manga. And Mankai is very detrimental because they later on find out that when you go into Mankai, every time you use or borrow the Shinju-sama's power, the Shinju-sama will take something that you have. So they'll either take your sight, a body part, basically take something away from your body. And it's the idea of sacrifice, because when you borrow the Shinju-sama's power, you need to give something in return. Nothing you give is for free. We see this explored a lot in Madoka Magica, and it's a lot darker in Madoka Magica, but at the same time it's very personal because it's directly affected by one of the characters, and this is Hamura. She becomes the catalyst of the story. Rather, in Yuuki Yuuna, the girls are set in these circumstances where they're initially chosen by the organization that acts under the Shinju-sama, and they kind of get almost manipulated to become good heroes. Like Yuna and another one of her good friend Togo, they were kind of planned to live next to each other, or like planned to be in this certain school, and so it just so happens that there are only this group of people of this age and of this personality and of these attributes that can have the power to become heroes. Versus in Madoka Magica, it was more about, if you want to be a magical girl, I will grant you a contract, and you know, bada bing, bada boom, right? It's different here because it's more like you are the only one that can save the world, so are you gonna do it? Even if it means sacrificing yourself, sacrificing your friends. And it does get very, very dark because what I've seen after Madoka Magica is that the magical genre is really trying to explore the darker aspects of the magical girl shows, the more realistic aspects of it. I mean, like, what is actually gonna happen if you took 14-year-old girls in real life and you threw them into a life or death situation, most of the time they'd probably be crying, and we do see this in Sailor Moon because Usagi-san whines quite a bit in her first battle, and then Luna kind of has to like kick her butt into action. So while previously in the magical girl genre was very, very like bright and sparkly, and you know, it's not that the genre lacks bright and sparkly shows, it is just very hard to find a series nowadays that will not rehash the same stereotypes and archetypes that we see in magical girl anime. Naturally, you still have the whole every magical girl has a color kind of thing, but the concept in Yuuki Yuuna is rather tragic and yet also noble, because after they transform into Mankai mode, it's essentially the same as when a flower blooms. And what happens when a flower blooms? It essentially wilts. And one of the previous magical girls that are basically crippled now because they have been fighting for so long, she tells Togo-san that, you know, that's basically what happened to them. You bloom beautifully, but after that, the flowers wilt and they fade and they die. And a lot of previous heroes in the Yuuki Yuuna world have been caught in this really vicious cycle. But it's essentially what they're forced to do because there's no one else that is capable of like fighting the vertexes and saving the world like this. So we see each of the characters like react to what's happened in a different way. I will admit that Karin, Yuki, and Togo seem a lot more developed than Itsuki and Fu-senpai, even though they did spend a lot of time exploring their sisterly relationship. And I thought generally Togo-san and Yuki kind of had a similar relationship friendship to the way Madoka and Hamura was set up. I did like Togo-san more in general because whereas Hamura was just fighting to save Madoka like personally, Togo-san was more so fighting to save all her friends, maybe Yuna a bit more, but it's also because she just would rather destroy the entire world than to see everyone suffer. So I feel like Togo-san is a very interesting character, and I feel like they could explore her a lot quite a bit because Yuuki Yuuna is just this really heroic character. She is that hero who doesn't mind sacrificing herself to save others. She scored highest with the organization's survey roles when they were evaluating different girls. So enough about the plot and the comparisons already. I want to talk a bit about the animation. The animation is very stunning. It's not produced by a company that we're generally very used to, but I still thought the animation was really gorgeous. I mean, they really hit it. And mostly why I enjoyed the animation so much is because they mixed a variety of styles. So a lot of people said that it parodied Madoka, but I think that Yuuki Yuuna wasn't as excessive as Madoka. Madoka combined a lot of realistic aspects with textures, various filters, and explored surrealism quite a bit. With Yuuki Yuuna, the battles were more like CG styled, and it wasn't so much a mesh of varying different art styles. It was more of just a strange kind of technological meets supernatural kind of design for the monsters or the creatures. In terms of the girls' outfits, the character designs, I did like the character designs very much. They kind of kept that element of realism, so none of the girls had like crazy hair colors or like blue or pink or anything. Each of the girls' outfits were actually really elaborate, and I was surprised with how they did that because it was very Sakura themed. Sakura historically had very like nationalistic connotations, so I liked how they kind of threw that in there, especially with Togo's very like militaristic, patriotic personality. When each of the girls transform, it's not like fluffy or frilly. It's actually very battle ready. So Karin fights with katana, dual katana, or like a lot of them when she transforms. Fu-senpai, giant broadsword. Itsuki has the vines. Togo has literally like machinery and artillery, and Yuuki Yuuna has her fists. So I thought that the concepts of the outfits were more militaristic and more combat ready than what you would usually see in magical girl shows. As well, when each of the girls go into Mankai mode, they go into like crazy giant mecha magic girl mode. It's crazy. I liked it a lot actually. It was really different from what we saw, and you know, Togo-san posed a really difficult character in the developing stages, I can imagine, because she is initially paraplegic, so she is in a wheelchair most of the time, and she had no idea how she would become a magical girl because she can't even walk properly. But you know, it's really awesome to see how they kind of innovated her character design, and she kind of moves with these like ribbons that support her. Physics do not matter in magical girl shows. I will point that out. And I really like that. I thought that it was a really interesting way to kind of make one of the magical girls initially disabled in some way. Now onto the music. I thought that the opening was absolutely stunning. Like when I listen to that opening, I just feel so many feels. If you actually listen to the lyrics, or if you look up some of the lyrics and the translations online, they're very meaningful because it has to do with like enduring hardships, trying to triumph over them, getting to be heroes. It's not anything new in terms of like magical girl or like superhero theme like lyrics, but it's the melody, the harmonies, and all the layering that they do with the different sounds, because it just comes out as almost like symphonic. There's a feeling of like struggle throughout that song, and you know, I really like the opening, so if you guys have skipped the opening or you haven't had a chance to listen to it, please go listen to it. The ending song definitely falls a little bit short for me, but because the opening song is so amazing, I don't even care. I think there are some key themes or score pieces in the soundtrack that I would like, but I haven't listened to the entire soundtrack because it hasn't been released yet at the time of this video. I do hope to get a feel of the soundtrack, but in general, I really love that opening song. I'd say of the entire season, it's probably one of my top, if not my favorite. I know I'm torn between Shigatsu wa Kimi no Uso's opening and Yuuki Yuuna wa Yusha de Aru's opening. It's really hard. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this very long video. I wanted to give all of my opinions, and hopefully I really threw them out there for you guys. Please leave a comment below if you've seen this series. Let me know what you guys think of the ending, because I feel like the ending could give us a season 2-ish. At the very end, we got a little shot that just said Yuuki Yuuna's story, so some fans on the forums have been speculating if they might actually do more of the show. I would like to see more. I like the entire concept and the structure of the magical world that's set up. I definitely think it's one of the more successful magical girl shows out there, and I do think it's very underrated this season because of all the big name anime that have been out. So anyways, let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, don't forget to hit like or subscribe for more from me, and I will talk to you guys in my next video very soon. Bye!